So Bob, it's 30 years since we won the first playoffs, really. To start off with, it was a brand new format, wasn't it, which I suppose we benefited from by being the team in the top division competing with, to avoid relegation into the second division. I mean, how did the players feel about that at the time, the new format coming in, something unknown?
Well, I think we always thought that we had a second chance, so to speak. So, but obviously that wasn't the plan of action going into the season. But obviously we just got promoted to the first division. So Lenny got obviously new players in and things. So he had a fair idea what sort of team he wanted to set up. And as the season went on, he could see possibly that we were going to be struggling. Obviously, being at Selhurst Park and the whole leaving the valley and everything was major. So everything at Selhurst Park was a battle all for the season, really, for the first season in the first division, and you're renting a football club, Crystal Palace Football Club ground, so we're away from the valley, so the fans obviously weren't happy and things, but they stuck by us and Selhurst Park. So the whole season in the first division was a really tough season. So as I say, go back to the playoffs, as we got closer and closer, we knew we would have a second chance, and that if we got into the playoffs as it stood out, and it did. And our form going into the playoffs was quite good. So I think that gave us confidence into the games that we played.
Despite all that, I guess all the factors of us not having a home at the time and things like that went towards Leeds actually being the favourite, despite being in the league below us. I mean, was that quite an old? Do you think that was a fair assessment, or do you think we were sort of thriving on the underdog feeling?
I think we're to ourselves. We always thought we were a little bit on the underdog side because the situation we were in. But we knew that Leeds, obviously, the final itself were a big club, but we had to get to the final first. We had to beat Ipswich, so and then obviously Leeds was the main one. Was when it got to the final, with a home game was. I think we were quite confident in our own ability, and I think we had a really good bunch of lads that Lenny got together. We were a proper team. We had good camaraderie between each other. We all trusted each other, and we all wanted what everybody else wanted. And I think because of, once again, the situation we had with the fans at Alston, having no ground as such to play at that time, really gave us strength, and we knew the massive importance of it to stay in the first division. And I think that was the lads we had. We all wanted to play in the first division. We didn't want to get relegated. I think that's why I said Lenny got his team together. You saw his signings, you saw the players that he got who were still hungry to get into the first division. And once we got in there, then all the boys and that wanted to play in the first division the next season, and the desire to survive, and it was massive. And the Leeds stuff came up, as obviously Leeds being a great big club as they are historically. We knew we had some tough games in it, and obviously that's what panned out. We had the home game. We played particularly well at home. We got a result 1-0, and then we had to play them away, and we knew that was going to be even tougher at Ellen Road. And as long as obviously we lost 1-0, but as long as we gave ourselves a chance, we just hung on in there. And then, as it happened, there was a third game, and it was 1-1 after the first two games, and it was all down to the third game, and that pushed the season on even longer to the end of May. And yeah, it was, I think, some of our experience, and that, the boys who were in our team were experienced, some of them, and that helped out in the final.
The night at St Andrews, a lot of Charlton fans, the few that actually were there, in comparison to the amount of Leeds that were there, they still remember it as being perhaps one of the greatest away days, if you can call it that, they've ever had. I mean, what are your memories of what was quite a special night?
It was quite amazing, really. So the thing was, like, we knew that that Billy Brenner was manager, so we knew that their team was always fired up, and they were going to be really fired up for this final and stuff. And every free kick they got, all their players are running around the referee and trying to influence his decisions. And we had team meetings like we do, and Lenny Lawrence was saying you know, he told the boys that if we ever get any free kicks, we've got to do the same as them. We've got to get around the referee and you know, to try and get him, perhaps influence him a little bit to be on our side. And it was going to be a very aggressive night. Even on the coach when we arrived, and that, Leeds fans were banging and being aggressive and everything, and outside trying to get into the players' entrance. Lenny Lawrence said, we're not coming off the coach until we get police escorted in, because there was no police around the entrance. So it was one of them like, really aggressive nights and that. So and then Lenny got the chief of police on and had a word with him, said we're not coming off, blah blah blah, and he said fair enough, and he organised some protection for the boys to get on. So we all know what it's up against. I think we were right up for it, and that, you know. So then during the game, it was great. I think we just once again we just sort of played our way in a bit. Really, we kept the ball well. We played really well the first 90 minutes, and obviously we had 1,000 fans, the Charlton fans in very brave that they were stuck in the corner and that. And I spoke to a few over the years and everything, and they said they were so glad to get out alive. Really, they really were. They said, I mean, they were brilliant overnight. It was only 1,000. Obviously, the rest were Leeds and stuff, but it meant a lot to us to have some support there. And once again, they said they're lucky to get out and survive, because at the end of the game I think they were left to their own devices, funny enough, and some of them, they were saying that the priest pretty much said that you're on your own, and get to your vehicles and your coaches in the car park across wherever they were parked as quick as you can and safely as you can, you know. So and that's the way at that time, I suppose that's the way it was. But yeah, it was, I mean, we won, went to extra time, as you all know. We were extra time, and we went 1-0 down. The score from a free kick, probably it was a top corner, I think. So it was a great goal they scored. But then the last 5 minutes, we were still playing well, and Peter Shirtley, old shirty boy, came up and got us the 2 goals from the winning goal came from a boring training ground free kick that we go in over and over and over again at, you know. It's just
pretty much the only time that paid off.
Yeah, I mean, we had a few goals in different set pieces, but they were vitally important, really, and it turned out to be vitally important for us. I mean, lads are always the same in training. It's all right, corners and free kicks time, and they'll go, all right, come on, here we go, and then we go through it all, and then the boys would be, you know, concentrating on what they had to do. But it wasn't the most exciting practices in the world. But as it turned out, it was probably the most important one, really, because it was all about us, Charlton Athletic, surviving in the First Division, and may well have been helping Charlton survive to a fashion. Although the fans will never say it, always going to be a Charlton Athletic. But at that time, we didn't have much money. The ground was all. I was going to say the ground was all broken and fallen down, and needs health and safety regulations and stuff. It needed all to be sorted out, and it was all about survival. And I think we got the shirt. He scored 2 goals right at the very end. Got the result, and then I was down the end with the 1,000 fans down that end. So me and Gritty had a little dance and a little jig, and chucked our shirt and gloves and everything else, like you think, because we were just made up, and we all had a big hug and stuff. And then coming off the pitch, even in going into the tunnel area, there was a bit of argy-bargy going on with these players, and Bren was complaining, there was a bit of whinging going on and stuff and all that. But we sort of manned up that night. It was brilliant. Yeah, it was, got in the change rooms, and it was I suppose it was like as if you're winning a cup, really. It was just so important. And I think throughout the whole season we really had a bunch of lads who were fighters, and they fought for the cause and that. And although it was the very first one playoff, as you say, but it was, you know, it was one of those things that we didn't want to happen again. We weren't going to love playing in the playoffs, but we did it, and history of Charlton again as sort of the first ones to play in the playoffs and got a result and we stayed in the first division, and that was, and for the future of Charlton Athletic, that's what it was all about.